Good morning. In some cases, it may even be good afternoon. It's a cool 61 degrees in Anchorage, Alaska. This is Walk and Talk number 66, July 15th. Talking about new beginnings. New beginnings. When you think of the word beginnings, you probably should think of the word Genesis. I'm titling this Walk and Talk, In the Beginning. A lot of us struggle even getting out of bed. A lot of us have challenges in life. We make mistakes. Things don't go the way we wanted them to go, and then we have to kind of figure out how do we start over. So I'm talking about on this Walk and Talk new beginnings. So I'm going to go to the Word of God and give some lessons from the beginning to help us start over every day. It seems that we lack a grounding, a foundation, and we get caught up in today's culture and the negativity of the life that is around us. And we really need to go back to the beginning. We need to go back to, for lack of a better term, basics. So, lessons from the beginning of time. Genesis chapter 1. Just going to read a couple of verses and just remind you of the fundamentals. If you're in depression, if you need to start over, if you need to restart, if you're discouraged, maybe you have forgotten some of the basic discouraged, frustrated, angry, mad, and we need to restart, we need to reboot, we need a fresh start. So let's just talk our way through Genesis chapter 1, a couple of verses. I'm going to start in verse 26 and identify a few lessons that will never change. If you can put your arms around these principles and follow them, it will reboot you. It will give you a new beginning. It will restart a positive. It'll get rid of the negative. So Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 is what I'm looking at. And it says, God said, let us make mankind in our image, according to our likeness. And let them, mankind, rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky and over the livestock and over all the earth and every crawling thing that crawls on the earth. And then verse 27. So God created man, and if you look back at verse 26, that's referring to mankind. God created mankind, man, in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. So the mankind is them, male and female. So let me just remind you, if you're discouraged, if life is broken, you're just flat out frustrated. Number one, you were made by God. God made you. You're created. You're not an accident. God made you. And then the text says he made you in his image. So every day when you get up, remind yourself of that simple, basic words, imago Dei. Imago Dei. Imago, image. Dei refers to God. Made in the image of God. I am, you are. God made you. He designed you. He's your architect. He is your creator. He has given you purpose. You're not an accident. You may feel like an accident. You may feel like a mess. You may feel like everything is against you. But the text says in verse 26, let us make mankind in our image, according to our likeness. Now get this. You were made by God in God's likeness. Now you're not God. There are some religions that want to make people God. You're not God. You're in the reflection. You're in the image of God. What that means is there are things about you that are special, that reflect God. You say, Roger, like what? Well, how about the whole concept of being able to smile, feel, laugh, cry? You know, the Bible talks a lot about that God does feel. So that's a part of you that reflects His image. Another part is something as basic as intelligence. You may feel like you've made a bunch of bad decisions, but God made you intelligent. Now, you have to exercise your brain. You have to work it, just like everybody has to work it, but you are intelligent. And He made you, He gave you a capacity to know and feel and do. Animals lack this capacity to have this consciousness, this free will. You don't. God made you with this capacity to choose left or right, up or down. This free will. That's a part of the image of God. Here's another aspect. God made you with the capacity to create. Now, not create from nothing like God, but God gave you this creative sense. It may be creating in a construction sense, a building. It could be creating music. It could be creating a song. It could be creating some melody. But you have been given this capacity to create. Every day, remind yourself you're in the image of God. You can restart because God made you in His image. It's interesting, also in verse 26, it says that you have oversight to rule the fish of the sea, to rule over the birds of the sky, to rule over livestock, to rule over all the earth, and over every crawling thing that crawls on the earth. This dominion, this oversight, every day, don't let go of it. God has given you a piece to rule over. It might be family. You might be a mom. You might be a dad. God has given you a job assignment. God has given you maybe full-time employment or part-time employment or volunteer work. But you have this privilege of overseeing a piece of God's creation. And that oversight is pretty special. That's a privilege by God. You get to oversee your time, your energy. You get to oversee what you do on a daily basis. You get to decide what time to get up, who you're going to help today, who you're not going to help. You can oversee a particular production. It's simply amazing what you can oversee. So understand in verse 26, you're made in God's image, imago Dei. No animal is made in God's image. The text is pretty clear. It's mankind. Just a simply amazing statement that God would make you in His image and give you oversight, some measure, some piece of overseeing the beautiful creation God has given us. Let me give you a quick example. I'm walking around a beautiful lake in Anchorage, Alaska. And as I think about this verse, somebody made the walking path that I'm on. Somebody makes sure that things are well kept. There's trash cans and light poles, and there's directions and people fishing, and somebody's overseeing all this. And God has created you to have oversight. Now, you can't take this and think that you get to oversee everybody, and you individually can. But what you can stop and appreciate is the privilege of your life made in God's image to oversee birds and fish and earth and dirt and the stuff of life. So as I walk beside this lake, I get to enjoy the ducks. There's mongoose and there's mallards and there's babies, and I get to watch people fish, and sometimes I fish, and it's a part of this beautiful, every day you get up, you're in God's image, and you oversee your time, your days. You get to decide what you do with your life. Some people may say, no, you don't. Well, yeah, you can decide where to work and where not to work. You can decide what you do with your day's activities. That's an amazing oversight. So I'll take a pause for a moment and just give you a little look at the lake that I'm enjoying. This is called Cheney Lake, and it's literally just a beautiful surroundings of trees and walking paths, and I'm just enjoying everything that is around me. Just a couple days ago, right up in that tree, right up there, I watched a bald eagle land, and Diane and I were just sitting here, and it was just a beautiful sight to watch animals that God created. And there is an environmental dimension. There is a let's take care of the animals. Let's take care of the clean air and the clean water, and let's make sure that we do not abuse and destroy what God has given us. There's this oversight. You have been created in God's image. God created everything that we get to enjoy every day. So when you're in a funk, when you're feeling discouraged, make sure you stop and think, okay, I am in God's image. He made me special in His likeness, and I have some oversight. And remind yourself, according to verse 27, God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him, male and female, He created them. So if you're struggling with this whole issue of what's my role, you have the same role as everybody else, and that is to oversee a piece of God's creation. I'm not sure what that piece is for you, but for me right now, this application is, Roger, as you enjoy overseeing your life, make sure you don't destroy things. Make sure you edify. Make sure you build up. Let every word that comes out of your mouth encourage. Be helpful, not hurtful, whether that be to animals or whether that be to people or the environment. Don't destroy. It's a privilege that God has given me. Live in peace, the Bible says again and again. Take every word, take every thought captive, As I sit here and just enjoy watching the fish jump, watching a child fishing, somebody's on a raft on the far side of the lake. Don't destroy. Yes, fish, but do it in a reasonable way. Make sure that what you do every day of your life encourages, not discourages. It doesn't destroy things. Let me remind you, verse 28 says that God blessed them. Genesis 1:28. Here's a lesson from the beginning. You're made in God's image. And number 2, you have oversight. And number 3, God blessed you. So every day, get up and say, look, I have been blessed by God. You may not have all you want. You may not have all of the big car that you want. You may not have the big house you want. Or you may have the big car or the big house. But you are blessed by God. You're not an animal. You have a conscience. You can choose what to do with your time. You have a free will. You're blessed. That idea of blessed by God is the idea of enjoying the goodness of God. See, when God created you, He gave you a portion of His image. He gave you some of His likeness. That's a blessing. God allows you to be creative. He allows you to smile. He allows you to get up and go to work, and He allows you to edify, to encourage. He allows you to do math. He blessed you. You're not cursed. You may feel cursed, but you're not cursed. Every day of our life, we have to back up and gently say to ourselves, I'm blessed. God has blessed me. How are you feeling? Do you feel blessed or do you feel cursed? Lots of people do not feel blessed. Now, can I just challenge you a little bit? You may not feel blessed because of whatever circumstance, family, job. You may feel it's a yucky day. Even though you don't feel blessed, you are blessed. You're blessed because God made you. God created you. You're blessed because you're in God's image. You have special gifts from God. You're blessed because you get to oversee. You're blessed because God says, I blessed you. It's interesting how in life we just simply start to ignore the basic lessons from God. In the beginning, God created. So remind yourself, how did God bless you? Well, He made you to share life with Him. Yes, there is a God. In the beginning, God blessed humanity. You're blessed. I'm blessed. Every day, we need to acknowledge and count our blessings. I love that old song, Count Your Blessings and Name Them One by One. See what God has done. Lots of us are living discouraged because we are ignoring the blessings of God. Count your blessings and name them one by one. God blessed them, verse 28, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Be fruitful. Be productive. Yeah, the text primarily is referring to reproduction, babies, yes, but it's more than that. The whole idea of ruling over is be fruitful, be productive, create. Take your life and don't just turn into a zombie, meaning someone who's just living but they're dead, or they're dead and living. Take your life and experience the joys of life. You may have some physical challenges, medical challenges. There may be some pain that you have to put up with. I understand that. I have had some challenges in my life that I've had to deal with some physical pain. Keep pushing beyond the physical to the spiritual. God blessed you and said, be fruitful and multiply. Find somebody to encourage. See, when God blesses you, He doesn't bless you for you to keep those blessings. He blesses you to get this, be fruitful and multiply. So He wants you to take what He's given you and pass on the goodness of God to others. God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply. I think it's interesting. Verse 29 says, and God said, behold, I've given you every plant yielding seed that is on the surface of all the earth, and every tree which has fruit yielding seed, it shall be food for you. I've enjoyed some cherries, some Bing cherries, some strawberries, some blueberries up while I've been here in Alaska. I've enjoyed some halibut sandwiches. Obviously, deep, battered, fried halibut. Food for you. I've enjoyed some cherries and whipped cream and angel food cake. And it says, it shall be food for you. Verse 30 says, and to every animal of the earth, and to every bird of the sky, to everything that moves on the earth which has life, I have given every green plant for food, and it was so. And then Genesis 1:31 says, and God saw that all He had made, and behold, it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. I take this literal, that God made you good. He didn't make you bad. You have chosen sinful behavior. That's what makes you bad, by your choices. But God made you good. God made this lake good. The ducks, the birds, all good. The trees, the birch, the pine, all good. Look around and smile. It was very good. You may have limitations in your life, and I'm just encouraging you, in the beginning are the foundations how to start over. If you go back and think about the lessons from the beginning, remind yourself you're made in God's image. You're made special. God created you. He created you to rule over, to have oversight. And it may be just for right now, God only has given you oversight of you, but that's something to enjoy. God blessed you. He blessed you with all kinds of blessings. A blessing is a gift from God. It's a good gift. It's not an evil gift. God, every good and perfect gift comes from above. God gives only good. Man takes what God gives, like free will, and we begin to make the choices that end up destroying everything around us. Enjoy every day. Start fresh every day with these lessons from the beginning. Go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 through 31. I've read them in the last few minutes. Read them often. These are foundational, lifelong principles. They're not going to change. When earth comes to its conclusion, when we head to heaven, these foundational truths created by God will still be honored. We'll still be in His image. We will still be created by Him. He will give us some kind of oversight in heaven. I don't know what we will be doing in heaven exactly, but there will be an oversight. There will be an opportunity to be blessed, and we will enjoy worshiping God. So take your day, the day that you have, and enjoy it. Every day is a great day, a day not meant to be just simply wasted. It's beautiful when I walk through this path. Give you one last peek at what I get to look at on my walking path. It's just a gorgeous place. There's 1,000 trails all around the huge forests and trees that God has made. And the birds are just flowers, just beautiful. If you enjoy the outdoors, just enjoy what God has created. Enjoy your life. Just a closing thought. Don't take life too serious. I think a lot of us are way too serious. God is God. He's in control. Well, have a good one. Encourage you to worship with us on Sunday at 9:30 live, and 9:30 online. 11 o'clock live, 11 o'clock online. We encourage you to consider the upper room at 11 o'clock. That starts, I believe, this coming Sunday with Nathan and Megan. Let God use you. Sunday night, 6 p.m., you can worship with us live on campus or online. Every day is a day to start over. Every day is a day of new beginnings. Every day is a chance for you to take the principles of God and follow them and have a fresh start. Have a great one. Blessings.